People call this show every week asking why we don't believe in God. But the answer is obvious. We have no good reason to believe in a God. In fact, the universe looks exactly like what we'd expect if there were not a God running it. It's chaotic, indifferent, unusually cruel, and is bent on death rather than life. All of this is radically unexpected in the God worldview, unless the God is indifferent and cruel. Additionally, every version of God that accounts for these facts has been a God that shapeshifts, changes with culture, political powers, and moral frameworks. God seems much more like a human invention than an eternal truth. And every time humans have said God did it, science eventually proved that no, God did not do it. And here's how it actually works. This is why Nietzsche famously said, God is dead, God remains dead, and we've killed him. I would add only one modification to this, stating, God is dead, God remains dead, we killed him, and now it's time to bury the stinking, rotting, bloated corpse that's left behind. So get your shovel and join us, or call in to prove us wrong. The lines are open, and the show starts now. Welcome in, everybody. Today is August 24th, 2025. I am your host, Justin. You might know me elsewhere as Deconstruction Zone. And joining me right now is my friend and co-host, the Archon of Algorithms, the Pontiff of Probability, the Duke of Bible Debunking, the Archbishop of Apostasy, and the Guardian of the Godless. Good to see you, Godless Engineer. Oh no, we lost your audio.
Sorry, I was muted. Sorry, I don't know if I'm all those things, but I will gladly wear those titles.
Well, I'm happy to be on a screen with you again. It's been a hot minute since we got to share a screen together, so I'm pretty excited about it.
Same here.
I think last time we ended up cooking on Numbers 31. Who knows? Maybe it was meant to be. We'll get to do even more cooking on Numbers 31 here tonight. But before we get into our calls, let's get into some announcements. The Atheist Experience is a product of the Atheist Community of Austin, a 501c3 nonprofit organization dedicated to the promotion of atheism, critical thinking, secular humanism, and the separation of religion and government. Now, John, we have one theist on the line already, Benjamin, which you may or may not have talked to before, says that the people who go to church don't have any idea what the Bible is even talking about. I'd love to bite into this particular conversation. Benjamin, can you hear us?
Yeah. How you doing?
Doing good.
Hey,
Thanks
Ben.
for calling, Benjamin. Benjamin, can you elaborate a little bit on what your thesis is?
Yeah, so I went to church earlier today. I do go to church and I do believe in God, but as far as the Trinity and stuff, I don't believe in that because that was added a lot later, which was kind of a bone to pick anyway because they claim that the Trinity's always been. I'm like, no, it hasn't. And in fact, when Jesus was alive, Christianity didn't even exist. You know, they was all polytheists. But yeah, I mean, it's and I brought this up to them, and I also brought up the fact that they cherry picked the Bible because they picked and chose what they wanted to put in it, and the rest they tried to burn and destroy. And I saw as heresy, and which honestly, a lot of you people have told me that my views are mainly heresy, but I'm a Gnostic. And that hasn't existed in several hundred years anyway.
So I think that's what we're interested in talking about. So let's get into that a little bit. John, what were you going to say?
Oh yeah, I mean, I was just going to ask Benjamin, like, how do you know what is the true teachings of God or the true nature of God or whatever particular aspects of God that you say that you believe in or you think you know? How do you know those things?
Yeah, well, I mean, so experience is necessarily first person, right? So I go off experience, knowledge, and life experience, but I can't demonstrate any of that to you. However, the problem that I went into with a lot of theists that I deal with is that either they don't actually know their Bible because the preachers don't preach from it, and I mean they pick a verse, but they don't preach the whole. They don't teach the actual Bible is the issue, and the like in my church for.
I'm not sure they answered the question. Maybe I didn't hear it. I think what John was asking is, how do you know that your understanding of the Bible is somehow like the correct understanding and that the others have it wrong?
Did we lose him?
Maybe. I don't hear him.
I don't know. Benjamin, are you there?
Apparently the demiurge took him. Yeah, he gone. He gone. He's in the swamp.
Okay.
He's in the deep swamp of Alabama. Okay. Fair enough. One of the alligators got a hold of him. Well, with that, then we got another caller in the queue. Let me read our announcements, and we'll get our next caller into the queue. Maybe if he comes back while we're doing the announcements, we can get him in. So let's give him an opportunity to reconnect if possible before we move on to the next caller. I'd hate for him to have to wait in line all over again. But if you're listening, call in and we'll get you back in the discussion. If not, we'll got to go on to Adam, our next caller. But the announcements for today, we're happy to announce that on August the 29th, just a couple of days from now, the Atheist Community of Austin will be hosting a presentation by Seth Andrews with an introduction by genetically modified skeptic and the Antibot. Join us at the the Round Public Library for an evening of pizza conversation and critical thinking. Tickets are available right now at tiny.cc/evening with Seth. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel, enable notifications, and comment below on who your favorite caller it is. Also, another way to support the channel is by sending in super chats. So go ahead, get your super chats in. We'll be reading your super chats as we get time throughout the stream, and then also at the end of the stream. It really helps to support the channel, and it brings the audience into the conversation. If you're in the Austin area, follow us on Meetup to keep up with community events. You can see what's going on at tiny.cc/ACA Meetup. You can go to events like Philosophy Under the Stars, game nights, and more. Also, you could join our weekly watch parties at the Free Thought Library on Sundays for live viewings of Talk Heathen and the Atheist Experience every Sunday. Doors open at noon. It's a great place for building community. And lastly, but certainly not least, we want to send a big thank you to the crew who puts the show together for us every week. We've got video operators, audio operators, note takers, call screeners, and chat moderators that make all of this possible. There's a lot going on behind the scenes. It's not just two talking heads on a screen shouting numbers 31 at people. So thank you to everyone making the show possible. It really means the world to myself and to the people watching. And Benjamin did come back. So I think Benjamin's connection is back with us. Benjamin, welcome back.
Hey, sorry, but I don't know what just happened. I was talking, and then all of a sudden it disconnected for some reason. So I don't know.
I suspect just bad reception. There. It's okay. So Benjamin, I think what Godless Engineer was asking, which I was looking for an answer to still, is you're reading the Bible, you're coming up with an interpretation of the Bible, and you're saying that your interpretation of the Bible is somehow superior to others. What's the measuring stick, or what's the tool that one could use to come to the conclusion that your interpretation is somehow better than somebody else's interpretation?
Well, so I'm not going to make the mistake of what the church tried to say and say faith, because that doesn't work. But I would say personal experience, just experience in general, knowledge, discovery, personal experience, that kind of thing.
If I can ask, what kind of personal experiences are you talking about? Like, I will start there. Like, what personal experience of yours has convinced you of your particular interpretation of your God?
Well, just well, that's kind of a complicated question to get into. Sorry, I got a puppy. But basically, I've been burned and it didn't hurt me. I've been hung. I've been shot. I've literally died a few times and came back. Been medically dead and came back. I guess I should say.
Are we talking to
I've
Rasputin?
been around a very long time. And,
Are you Rasputin?
No, but that is a good joke.
I mean, I was being half
That is-
serious. The way that you talk about yourself surviving being shot, hung, and all that. Like, that's what Rasputin went through, if I'm not mistaken there. I think he was also poisoned and maybe drowned as well. But, you know, there's time.
Oh, yeah, people tried to drown me, and I almost drowned. So that, yeah, I don't know if I was ever poisoned or not.
I mean, would you really know if you're immune to it and it didn't kill? I mean, was there anybody surprised after you having a meal? Sorry, we're getting off in the weeds. That's my bad.
No, I mean, that's like when I was medically dead. I mean, basically everything went black. My hearing cut off. My senses.
Your what got cut off?
And then,
His hearing.
Your hearing cut off. Okay.
Yeah. So my hearing cut off. My senses cut off. Everything went black. And then I just woke up in the gurney. That's pretty much. And also, let me ask you this.
So I mean, that was similar to my experience. Like, so I've been dead before, and you know, everything went black, and then I was just out of consciousness for a time, and then I woke up somewhere else, right? But to me, this evidence, the evidence you're talking about, in my own experience, would lead one to believe that there is no God, there is no afterlife. Like, if we lose consciousness, we die medically, and then it's just blackness. It would stand the reason that there's nothing in the beyond.
Well, see, what's weird to me is I was actually standing over my body at one point, but and also I was literally standing over it. I could see my body, but then because I was in the middle of a concert.
Right. Okay, Benjamin. Benjamin. So I get that you think that you were standing beside your body, but I'm just kind of curious how you can discern between like some kind of hallucinatory experience that you had versus. Sorry, what?
Well, so. Yeah, you're arguing, you know, basically scientific chemicals in my brain from lack of oxygen versus a supernatural experience, right?
I mean, yeah, that's essentially.
Yeah, we know that to be the case because we can do it on purpose. We can cause it through DMT, psilocybin, deep brain stimulation. We can produce the exact same experience that you're referring to.
Well, see, I also have remote viewing, which is basically the ability to use my brain to look and see like stuff that I'm not there physically looking at, but I can see, you know, stuff from a distance. And I use my brain to remember, you know, details of it. Like you could.
Can you do it right now?
Photographic memory, I guess. But,
Can you do it right now?
Possibly.
Sure. Can you do a remote viewing and tell us something that's in Godless Engineer's room or something that's in our room that's not on camera?
Well, I mean, I could try to do that.
Sure.
I mean, I don't know if I'd be able to. I mean,
you might convert both of us.
How long would that take? Like, is it like a long process of you like meditating and like trying to view, or
no? I mean, it just takes concentration, clear my mind, and then I can basically just go pretty much anywhere. And
so I'm gonna give you an item. Let me know if you can come close to determining what it is. Just to the left of me on my desk, I have a very, very specific item on my desk shelf. It can't be confused for anything else. There's nothing like it that you would find in an office that would be similar. So like any description, even remotely close to what this thing is, I'd be willing to accept that you are viewing it remotely. You want to give it a shot? Tell me what's just to the left of me.
Is it a metal triangle?
Not really. It's metal.
Is it metal?
It is metal.
Is it, let's see, I'm trying to see it. Sorry. Let's see. Is it an upside down cross?
No, I'm sorry. Completely different category. It's not a cross.
That's the best thing I got. Well, I knew it's some kind of safe, right?
It's not a safe.
Is it like a
shape?
No, I said a safe. It's like a.
Oh,
is it like
the shape I would give it is more of a polygon.
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking that. I knew it was something. I knew it was metal, but yeah. So that's kind of how my stuff works. I mean, I can visualize.
It didn't work. No, Benjamin, it didn't work. You just scattershot a bunch of shit towards Justin's way, and then none of it worked out. And so now you're like, so yeah, that's how it works. It's impeccable. I got it. Boom.
To be sure, I just want to make sure we're clear on this.
I thought it was a triangle, but it's a polygon.
Well, to be sure, all of us have a metal rectangle in our office. It's typically what our computer is housed in. That's not what I was referring to. So I would need something more specific than like a Oh, it certainly isn't a triangle. What I'm referring to.
Right. But I mean, so I thought you meant I thought you meant something in your womb. Not
it is. It's in the room with me.
You said in your womb, right?
Well, I'm in my office right now. So the room that I'm in has a metal device, but I wouldn't describe it as rectangular.
Well,
it's definitely a polygon.
That would be a computer, right? I mean.
Well, that's the thing.
I wasn't trying to say computer. I thought you meant something like that was next to you.
I specifically picked something that wasn't a computer because I assumed that you might guess a computer since it's going to be in all of our rooms since we're talking on a computer, right? So the item that's sitting to the left of me.
I wasn't thinking computer.
Right. So the item that's to the left of me.
And I knew it was some kind of safe.
Well, it's not a safe, but it is something.
S-A-F-E, it's safe. You know, I said safe, not
safe. S-A-F-E.
Made of metal, but I don't know.
I think he says shape.
Oh, shape. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's not a triangle.
Yeah. I mean, that was my first guess, but I knew it was metal. But remote viewing is where you can use your mind to see stuff that you're not physically looking at, which I have.
Sounds like cold reading.
Right. Yeah. So I just want to kind of cut through a bunch of this bullshit that we're kind of wading through right now, because studies have been done on remote viewing, and they've actually been detrimental to like police investigations and everything like that. There's actually never been any verified case, just like what we just witnessed here, of actual remote viewing being accurate. So what you've demonstrated here is the failing of remote viewing. You haven't been able to remotely view a thing. Like, I'm holding something in my left hand right now, and you're definitely not going to be able to guess what it is, because nobody would be able to guess what I'm holding right now. But if you think you can remote view and guess it, give you a second shot here, go ahead, do it.
Well, I have actually remote viewed plenty of stuff. And I also have been able to look at people and know what they went through without even me asking them. For example, when I was in
could you answer my question? We're closer in like physically, I'm closer to you than Justin is. So maybe that could be the case here for this remote viewing aspect. What am I holding in my left hand right now? Can you remote view come into this?
I'm in Alabama.
Huh?
I thought y'all were both in Texas.
Nope, I'm in Alabama.
Oh,
shit, you guys might be neighbors.
No, we're not neighbors, but
how do you know?
Let's see. Because I live in a small town. I know. Well, actually, it's interesting you bring that up because I've been here for over 40 years, and people don't realize how long I've been here. So that's kind of an interesting thing. But what else?
So let me just real quick, Benjamin. The reason why we're kind of testing you a little bit on remote viewing is because the way a lot of remote viewing happens is people will like guess really generic items that may or may not plausibly in a room, kind of like cold reading a crowd. In order for remote viewing to be validated, we would need like a specific instance, like there's something in my left hand, what is in my left hand? Or like that would be really good proof, is if you actually gave us the specific description of the item.
Okay, right. So let me ask you this. So if I was in a room, right, and somebody was walking down a stairway to the room, and I could guess, I say, girl with glasses, and it's a girl with glasses, and then I say, your bicycle accident, your wound on your white soldier's going to heal, and she has a wound on the white soldier from a bicycle accident that just happened. And there's no possible way that I could have known any of that because I couldn't see who was coming down the stairway, right? So if I'm able to do stuff like that, does that count?
That's what we're asking, right? Because like you're telling us something that you already did in the past that we have no way to investigate. That's why we're asking you to do it now, right? Because I can easily say, listen, John, I'm not God, but I do have magical powers. In fact, just last week I went outside and I made all the rocks in my backyard levitate. Now, listen, that would be really cool if it was true, but the reality is John has no way. John doesn't have a way of testing that. That's just a story that I told, right? So the only way for us to come to the point where we believe you that you can remote view is if you can demonstrate it in real time.
Well, let me ask you this. If somebody has atmokinesis, okay, how could they tell whether that person is facing a storm or the storm is coming naturally? Right, so because you could have
hold on. What? No, well, hold on, Benjamin. I'm confused. One. Did you say telekinesis?
I said atmokinesis, but what you described would be
atmokinesis. What is that? Right, and that's the ability to control storms.
That's what I thought. Yeah. Atmokinesis is the ability to control weather, the atmosphere with your mind. So I want to make sure we heard you correctly. Are you saying you can control the weather with your mind?
Well, I mean, even if I could, I couldn't prove it because people would just pass it off as natural occurrences.
I would believe you right now. Listen, if you could make it rain outside of my house right now, I'm looking out a window right now. If you can make it rain out there, I'm joining your cult right now. I'm signing up.
I've got a money gun in here, so I could definitely make it rain in one kind of way. But yeah, that sounds like a Marvel superhero power. That's Storm from the Marvel. Are you fucking with this? Like, I feel like you're fucking with this, Benjamin. Are you fucking with this?
No, I'm just saying, like, if I was able, I mean, I'm just giving an example. If I was able to control the weather, nobody would be able to discern that from natural occurrences, right? I mean, let's say,
Benjamin, if it's unfalsifiable, then that makes it a pretty shit claim, right? Like, there's no way for us to falsify whether or not you've been able to use your mental powers to conjure a storm. We're never going to be able to verify or not verify it.
Well, no, I wouldn't say that, but I would say that there would be certain steps that you would have to take to verify it. Because let's say, for the sake of argument, that I did make it rain, then you could just say, "Oh, it just rained by natural occurrences," right? But if I'm able to do that repeatedly and make it rain in the location where I'm at, then, which, for the record, usually it has to be where I'm at. So, like right now, I'm in my town and it's cloudy all over, and it's about to start raining here, but generally it's stronger where I'm at than where I'm not at. So right,
but that's what we're saying. Benjamin, that's what we're saying, right? We're saying we would give you the benefit of the doubt. Like I'm charitable enough. I will give you the benefit of the doubt if you can make it rain where I'm at right now. Like I told you, I'm not lying to you. I'm not going to say it was through natural causes. I'm saying you do it right now, and I'm a believer.
Well, that's
Benjamin, do you prefer silver or gold? I can make an idol in either one.
I don't really care which one, but what? Well, I mean, you're not really supposed to make idols anyway, right? But I mean,
well, I'm not a Christian. I'd be following whatever your cult is, not the Christian cult, right? So I guess it's like the new rain cult, I guess, weather cult.
It's Baal, but.
Yeah, you're Baal. Okay, so we're talking to Baal. Cool.
Well,
are you the rider on the clouds?
Well, huh?
Okay, so
I was the rider on the storm.
Oh.
Oh, damn, Benjamin. No, Benjamin. We've kind of run the gambit here today because we started off asking you, hey, how can you verify that your interpretation of your religion is the correct one and everybody else is wrong? And now we're on, I have Marvel superpowers that can control the weather. I'm basically Storm of the X-Men.
I never said that.
I'm sorry. Didn't you just say that you can do it?
I said
you can't control the weather.
I didn't say I could.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. You were talking like you could. Anyways, can you please just, maybe we can recenter this before we have to go, and maybe we can get back to the original question that you still have yet to actually answer, and that's how do you discern that your beliefs about your God are true and every other Christian that goes to church, at least, is wrong?
Okay. Well, if I was just to throw this out there, if I was to tell you that where you're at is going to rain later today, would that be a prediction if I have no way to know where you're at if it's going to rain?
You could just watch the weather report, Ben. Fuck.
Yeah, so like a future prediction of like sometime today it's going to rain, I don't think is interesting. Like I need you to do it right now while there's no rain clouds overhead. That would be interesting. But also keep in mind that I don't think that this is unique because there are people in other religions who claim to do the same thing. So like I'm aware that to you, it sounds like super convincing that like, hey, I have a power because my God is real. But like, if you have this power and there's other people like in the Hindu faith who have the same power, then the best you can possibly do is say that all of the gods are real.
Well, I mean, you kind of splitting hairs with that, but what would be a good, what would count as a good prediction in your mind?
Tradition?
Right? So it has to be specific, and it has to be something that would not be generally possible, right? So if I say something,
Ben, what Justin is asking for here is for you to literally snap your fingers like fucking Thanos right now, cause it to rain at his location, and then snap your fingers again like Thanos and cause it to stop raining.
I don't know where he is. It's kind of hard to make it rain someplace if I don't know where it's at.
But God does. God knows where I'm at.
Yeah.
You don't have to know. Just like you don't have to have literal control over the weather. Your deity gives you that control, right? So like you don't actually need to know where I'm at.
What?
I mean, you were able to astral project into my office apparently earlier, kind of, except it didn't work. So, like, you know, you can figure it out.
Okay. Well, just to give y'all an idea, if I was a god, you know, if I was, you do realize it's not a good idea for the human race to test my patience, right? Because I'm not.
We're testing your patience, Benjamin. What are you going to do about it? I'm standing here with my hands up in the air. Cause it to lightning. Become Thor. Come on, right now. I'm testing your patience. Let's do it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm literally drinking holy water while I blaspheme God.
You're drinking water. It's not holy water.
It's in a bottle that says holy water.
You're drinking water. No,
how do you know it's not holy water?
It's not. We don't even believe in holy water. What?
Well, you do.
How do you know it's not holy water?
What I was saying, even if I could make it rain where you're at, you can still just disprove it as scientific. Why? Because you.
No,
you
I told you I wouldn't.
Scientific explanation.
No, I already told you. If you make it rain right now where I'm at, I won't blame it on science or nature. I'll believe that you did it.
Is there clouds where you're at?
No, that's why it'd be so believable. That's why I keep saying, if you make it rain right now, I'm joining your cult tomorrow. I'm burning down all my silver and gold.
You know, Ben, what it's coming across as right now, it's like, well, I have this atmospheric like power to make it rain as long as I know what the weather is. I can predict the weather, and I know what your weather report is.
The weather is. I can literally. I mean, atmokinesis is being able to make it rain whenever, but I still have to know where the guy's at so I can make it rain there. I can't.
But Ben, you literally said, can I make a vague prediction that it will rain at some point around you in the future? And like, that's apparently supposed to be some kind of magic thing. I also want to point out, Ben,
now does it?
Ben, I want to point out that Deuteronomy 18:10-12 explicitly prohibits you from practicing divination, sorcery, and any other kind of magical X-Men shit.
That's bull.
Is it? Oh no! Quick check, yeah. Justin. Am I wrong about that?
I'm aware.
No, I know what it says. And it doesn't.
Okay.
That I'm excluded from that.
Oh, you're special.
Why?
What? Yeah. Thank you, hon. Why?
That verse. Well, I mean, have you ever dealt with a set of witch trials?
A set of what?
Why do you think people burn them at the stake?
Witches? Is that what you said?
In Salem, Massachusetts, when they did the witch trials, they used
just a second, Benjamin. We're trying to figure out what we're trying to figure out what you just said before you move on.
Yeah. So
before you started talking about Salem witches,
the witch trial or the verse.
The witch trials. Okay. So the Salem witch trials,
so
a bunch of scared men decided to burn women at the stake because they were afraid of them. What does this have to do with it? Like, or how does that factor into you being excluded? Because you're not a woman?
No, that's not what I meant. I was just bringing up the fact that they used that verse at the Salem witch trials. The reason I'm excluded would be because I don't fall into that category that verse is for. So that's why I'm excluded. But also,
wait, hold on, can you say that again?
I heard category roses. Can you say that?
No, category of so the category of people that was written for, I don't fall under. That's what I said. That's why I'm excluded.
Which is.
But also to bring this up,
no, because you're not a witch, you're a warlock.
Well, I mean, I'm a guy.
I feel like that's a distinction without a difference there, Benjamin.
Warlock, but
you're a god?
That's what you just said. I'm a god.
Did you say I'm a god? Oh, okay.
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Can I ask a question for you, Benjamin? Because I'm really deeply intrigued by the idea that you have a unique interpretation of the Bible. And we spent a little bit of time trying to determine why we should care about your interpretation, but I don't know if we're going to make a lot of room there. I think we've demonstrated what we need to there, but I'm trying to figure out, I'm curious, what is your unique interpretation of the Bible that nobody else has that we should know about?
You really want to know?
I'd be glad to know, yeah.
Well, the human race killed Jesus and slaughtered him, and then the Catholic Church made him this high guy, added the Trinity, burned half the books and the manuscripts that told history of it, and now they sit there in their temples and they say, and they have different interpretations of crap, and they argue amongst themselves, and you're going to end up destroying yourselves anyway. And they sit there and say, "Oh, well, Jesus and God is all the same person with this book anyway." And for the Bible was probably in the first place.
Ben, what do you fucking believe? That's what we want to know. What is your interpretation? I don't want to know what kind of like backstory you've got for, you know, the Christian history or whatever. I just want to know what you fucking believe. Okay. Could you please tell us like what's your interpretation of your God and why is it the true one?
Okay. Jesus is not God. Jesus was a messenger. In fact, he even says it himself. And God is not all good, because if he was good, there wouldn't be evil in the world in the first place. Now, also, I'm going to add to that. In order for you to recognize good in something, you have to have something to compare it to. So no matter what amount of good is in the world, there's still going to be darkness and evil. You can't have one without the other.
So in Psalm 145, I think verse 9, it says that God is good to all. Does that not imply that he's good to everybody? And James says that
you think slaughtering the Amalekites was good.
No, that's what I'm saying is like there's passages in the Bible that seem to state that he is good, but when we look at his behavior, it seems pretty clear that he's not good.
Right. Well, that was my point. There you go. You asked me my opinion of God, right? Just to clarify.
Okay, so
I think
the Bible passages that say that God is good, they're not necessarily true. They're like euphemisms.
Well, they're lies. But
fair enough. We agree then. Yeah, those are lies. Yeah, the part where it says God, like in Mark 10:18, when Jesus says, "Why do you call me good? No one is good but God alone." That's just a lie. So Jesus tells lies?
I would say he's not all good if he's good at all. But
sure, I could agree. What percentage good do you think he is? Like 50% good, 20% good?
40. Is
40%
good. Let's just pull a number out of my ass real quick. Okay, 40.
I mean, I would lower that to maybe 20% at best, but still, I mean, that's a pretty huge admission that you're willing to say God is only 40% good and he's 60% evil. I mean,
you do realize that Gnostics, which I am technically a Gnostic, theoretically.
That's right.
Sorry,
I forgot about that.
That God was evil. I mean, I'm not going to go into the whole spirit crap, body trapping the spirit bullshit. But as far as God being evil, yeah, I definitely believe that, because if you look at the world and you look at the universe and everything else, everything is designed to kill us, not give us life.
Yeah.
Right? There's not a fountain downtown, a fountain of youth that I could drink from and stay young forever. This idea of whoever shall believe in me shall not perish but have everlasting life. that would really suck. I mean, I can tell you from experience. I mean, hell, I've been around a very long time, and I can tell you it really damn sucks. Because, like, think about it, if you're around for decades and you look the same, and no one knows how long you've been around, not only is your societal stuff going to be different because you've been around so long and society changes over time and you're still stuck 40, 50 years in the past, which is in my case, by the way. Hell, I'm used to the damn 80s. but yeah,
so
I mean,
I just want to put a bow on the conversation then. So you're suggesting that parts of the Bible aren't true?
Well, yeah, definitely. I mean, hell, the Bible's been altered and changed for decades, centuries. I mean, people spin on it all the time. What do you think interpretations are?
Sure. So why would you trust the Bible as opposed to the Quran or the Vedas?
Well, as far as the Tanakh and the Quran and the Bible and all these other books that explain, sort of the same stuff, I think that I could argue if you combine all of those and put all of it into one book, you might have a chance at that point if you can discern, who's who on that. However, because everything is separated and half of it has been destroyed, and like my point I was talking about earlier, the church I go to, they have no idea about the missing books. They have they know about the book of Enoch. They don't count it as canon, and they sit there and cherry pick, and then they don't preach from the actual Bible.
Well, Benjamin, you don't have to preach to me about the apocryphal books. I agree with you. They were canonical to the early Christians. They were canonical to the church for the first 17th century. So, I'm with you. But aside from that, what I'm trying to figure out is if we have this book that is so full of errors, so full of things that are incorrect, what is the tool that we're using to figure out which parts are correct? And if a bunch of it's incorrect, why would I trust it at all? Why wouldn't I just throw it out and say, oh, this is another book of mythology?
Well, see, it's interesting you bring that up, because when I brought up that same point, they said, oh, well, the book of Enoch and all these other books are wrong, but what we have here is right. And I didn't want to be an asshole and say, well, that's just, that's not how that works, And I knew it was a thinking error, I forget what the hell y'all call those, but I knew it was one of those, but I couldn't think of the damn name of it, so I couldn't really tell the guy what the name of it was. No. So saying that the book, that what they have is right, but the other stuff is wrong, based on their opinion. That
you say that's fallacious?
Equivocation,
like special bleeding?
Fallacy. There we go. Equivocation fallacy, I believe. Yeah. So basically, when they said that, I was kind of done with them, because I could sit here and say, you don't have all the books, you don't have the full picture, which they don't. No one really does now, because it's too late to get it, essentially.
Sure, but we're not here to argue about that. We're not concerned about the canon. That's not something we're concerned about. We can just agree with you there and move on. But listen, we spent some time talking, and we've had Adam waiting in the queue for a while, being patient. So I want to make sure Adam gets a chance to come on and have a conversation with us. But Benjamin, you've been a lot of fun to talk to. Please do come back. It was very enjoyable for me. I hope it was enjoyable for you as well.
I mean, I had fun.
Out of curiosity, you said you're in Alabama, right? So you know how the weather is here anyway. I mean, but
yeah,
I don't, I was trying to help these people out by teaching them, but they have their own opinions. And really, and then they even said, oh, it just comes down to faith, which, again, I didn't want to be an ass. But that's what they literally said. They're like, oh, it comes down to faith about what you believe and yada, yada, yada. And I'm sitting here like, well, all that is opinion. You don't, all you have is basically taking it on its word, blind faith. That's literally the definition of that.
Yeah, Ben. I
people because
well, so we can go after this, but I've got the perfect solution for you. Okay. The next time you're going to a church or something like that, and you want to convince people that, hey, I know what I'm talking about. This is like what you believe is wrong. And what I'm about to tell you is right. What you need to do, raise your hand up in the air, snap, cause lightning to like fire off all around you, and then unsnap, and then have an eclipse go across the sky, and then snap again, and you're like, believe me, motherfucker. And then they probably will. They'll start worshiping you. I mean, if you are the real world Marvel's version of Storm, then that should be an easy thing to do. You could top it off by remote viewing and being like, oh, I totally see what, somebody's doing in the house down the street. And then, they'll believe you. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but there would be no way to put that. And then even if I had lightning go all around me with clouds and storms and everything else within a few minutes, they still would just dismiss it. I mean, I think these people are so indoctrinated. Even if I did do all that stuff, it would either scare the hell out of them or they would try to kill me.
Well, right. I mean, there's one of two options there. And I mean, they either believe you or they, light your ass on fire on a stake. So, I mean, just, roll that dice, roll for initiative, bud.
Yeah, but listen, Ben, it was great to talk to you. We gotta move forward in the show, but thank you for being here, and do come back.
Yeah, I tried to call on time. I didn't know what time the show started, but it was.
Oh, Ben got raptured.
The weather might have came in and dropped his call, it seems like.
What he probably did is he flicked his finger, and that caused a storm to appear and like caused his call to drop. That's what happened. It happens to me every day.
Well, let's grab a couple super chats, and then we'll get Adam on the line. We can just take turns here. We've got a super chat from our friend Kahoto Kun. Great to see you. Thank you for the super chat. It says Doug approves of eating your kids as long as they're Sour Patch kind. Yes, I can confirm as a prophet of Doug, the only kids you're allowed to eat are Sour Patch.
All right. How many are we reading? Just a few.
Let's go. Let's do we'll end on Dr. Joe's super chat.
Okay, cool. So next is Hadassah's concubine, who says, today the prophets woke me and told me to don a leather mask with steel zippers. She then said that we would quote, make pleasing aromas for the Lord. I curse the day my dad, John the Baptist, sold me.
There's a lot of inside jokes happening there, but you can YouTube Hadassah and find out. Libra the Skeptic, thank you for the super chat, says, Benjamin, I can tell when a storm is coming. It's called phantom pain. Now remote view what's in the room I'm in. I think you're the maelstrom.
Yeah. So for everybody that was wondering what was in my left hand that I wanted him to guess, it was a beer, I take the top side bottle opener. Thank you, hon. But just in my face. Yes, I got that as a present from somebody, from my wife. That's what I was holding. He would have not figured that out. All right, next from the Libra Skeptic. Thank you so much for the super chat. Says it's his fruits of the spirit, with a bunch of laughy cry faces.
Indeed. You know what? He had, at least he was pleasant to talk to. He had some of those spiritual fruits. Our friend Master Machetier with the super chat, thank you so much, says, I predict Doug makes me as hard as petrified wood. And indeed, Doug would make you rock hard. Absolutely. In fact, they're watching over us, Doug and Sharon Stone behind me.
Next, Libra the Skeptic says, best way to start my work shift, hearing this guy.
That's definitely a good form of entertainment. And last for now, from our friend Dr. Joe, great to see your friend, says caller doesn't seem to understand idiom, splitting hairs, and testing my patience. Also, I'm in Austin now. Oh, that's right. I knew you were in the Austin area, Dr. Joe. Well, listen, you should stop in at the Free Thought Library and join some of the people that are like live watching the show. That'd be a lot of fun. All right, I think that's our last for now. We'll read more super chats at the end. Let's get Adam into the show. And Adam is from Alabama again. This is a popular place to be, apparently. And Adam is asking, what is the purpose of this show?
Nice.
I'll let John go first because I've got some things to say.
Yeah. So Adam, I mean, is that pretty much just what you want to ask? Is like, what's the point of all this?
Oh, yeah. And I could get into, my, I guess, indifference kind of, not necessarily indifference, but my position on is there intelligence in the divine?
Okay. Well, so just to answer your initial question here, what's the purpose of the show? It is to, provide theists and others out there that want to ask us questions, like both theists and atheists that want to call in and have conversations with atheists in the community. Maybe they have questions that they need answered, or, like you heard earlier, just some, weird ideas about the religious belief and all this other stuff. So, I mean, there's multiple reasons why people call in, and we're just sort of providing the opportunity for people to have a conversation, nice civil conversation, usually with somebody that doesn't believe in God. So that's at least why I'm here.
Yeah, the only thing I would add is. See, the only thing I would add is I think the show is important because for some people, their introduction into critical thinking and rational thought processes is by watching a debate. Like they've heard something all their lives, but they've never heard opposition to it. And we're providing a platform to give a robust debate from both sides of the aisle on the God concept. And I think for a lot of people, these debates are really helpful in forming their critical thinking skills. And I also believe that people's beliefs are important because they act on their beliefs. And so if we live in a society where people believe in God, they're going to act on these beliefs in God, and they're going to do things in accordance with their religion. And if they are harming others, then I think the best thing we can do is teach them how to think critically and move away from their harmful religious viewpoints. Sorry to interrupt you, though.
You would say that all religious viewpoints are all faith. Would you say that they're all, would you just say that bad beliefs or something to that effect?
No, I don't think all religious views are inherently dangerous.
I didn't catch that last part.
What did that guy believe? What did that guy believe in the former call? Was he a Christian? I couldn't hardly tell. It seemed like that rambled on for about 40, 50 minutes.
Yeah, so
he might be one of the longest callers on the show ever.
Adam. Sorry, is because he started getting louder when I was trying to interrupt him. I mean, I get the want to maybe talk about the previous caller, and I think he seemed to be Christian and everything like that, but he's not here to really defend himself or really further explain his Marvel abilities. But so maybe we could kind of focus on what you want to talk about, and I mean, I'm kind of curious about that.
I'd about rather watch paint dry than listen to that dude again. But at any rate, my position on this is like an agnostic, which deals with the atheism, which, God has become too ambiguous. Einstein pretty much said the same. So I don't know how you could I think it's a term that could mean literally anything, but like the agnostic part is I take that scientific neutrality of any hypothesis introduced. And so therefore to believe or disbelieve in a God, I think we have limited information. Like Einstein said, it was like a child in a library filled full of books of different languages the child can't understand, but might perceive some mysterious order.
All right, Adam.
I think the atheist. Oh, okay. I know y'all like to talk.
Well, I mean, we've been allowing you to talk, Adam, and I just wanted to get a word in edgewise. Okay.
Meanwhile, I talk maybe 5 minutes while y'all talk 15.
Okay. Anyways, just coming from my perspective here, if I don't have like an active belief in a God, then that means that I don't actively believe in a God, which makes me an atheist. Now, I do characterize myself as an agnostic atheist. So it seems to me like you're trying to draw a distinction about this middle ground, pure middle ground of agnosticism, which I'm not trying to, tell you how you should label yourself. I'm just, I guess, clarifying my misunderstanding with your position, because it seems like what you're saying is that like you're taking the null hypothesis there on whether or not a God exists, and that makes you like a pure agnostic. But I'm just kind of curious as to why you wouldn't classify yourself as an atheist, because all that means is that you just don't actively believe in a God.
Not necessarily, but I doubt you'll allow me to extrapolate upon my position. Seems like I can't talk for a minute at a time.
Well, I think he's trying to clarify your position. So he's not trying to interrupt you. It's just that in order for you to explain your position, sometimes we need clarification when you say things. And if you say a lot of things, then we end up having to take you all the way back to the point where we needed clarification. So conciseness is helpful. I guess he's trying to figure out it sounds like you might actually be kind of like an atheist as opposed to an agnostic. Because do you believe in a God or do you not believe in a God?
I neither have faith nor disbelief in a God. Atheists don't have a disbelief in intelligence in the divine. I think you should focus on the design aspect of it, because I don't know that you might not be able to directly observe, a creator, especially if the creator existed outside the universe somehow, which, I don't know. I think it's just beyond our comprehension, as Einstein had explained.
So if you don't believe in a God, that means you have disbelief in a God. You said you have no disbelief and no belief, but those are actually two opposites. Like if you don't believe in God, that means you have a disbelief.
And I know you'd like me to be an atheist, but no, I maintain neither faith nor disbelief. So you're saying
if you don't believe in a God, that means you're an atheist.
Can I finish speaking for like 20 seconds?
Well, we're just trying to define a word, right? Like you see how like I'm responding to you in very short sentences, like very concisely. I'm just trying to get the word defined before we move on, right? So what does it mean to lack a belief in something?
Agnostic. There's three positions here. Agnostic. And you use the term agnostic as an adjective. If you say agnostic atheist or an agnostic theist, you could be either an agnostic atheist or an agnostic theist. That just means you're not 100%. You say you're a Gnostic atheist or a Gnostic theist, then you're 100% certain of your position, and that's an adjective use. I'm talking about agnostic, the noun. Yes, I'm very familiar with
That's
this.
why we're defining the words, because what it means to be agnostic, it just means to be without knowledge of the God, right? In Greek just means to be without, and gnosis is the knowledge. You lack the knowledge or the belief in a God.
Sounds like you're manipulating basic definitions. You want me to look it up?
That's just what it means. It's a Greek term.
Now let's read the real definition. Hold up. Let me find the actual definition of the word. This is ridiculous. Okay. Agnostic for you here.
It comes from which language?
A person. Can I say this for like 30 seconds? Will you let me? I mean, come on. A person who believes that nothing is known or can be known of the existence or nature of God. No, that's not. And then a person who claims neither faith nor disbelief in God. That's separated by a semicolon. Those are two different perspectives. I'm not the first. As the second part of that definition, a person who claims neither faith nor disbelief in God or intelligence in the design. And I'm adding the intelligence in the design because if you establish intelligence in the design, then you established a designer.
Adam?
I don't know why you think it's so.
Adam, can I ask a question real quick? Do you believe in God?
Just like saying my name. I neither have faith nor disbelief. Do you disbelieve God? Do you disbelieve intelligent design? If you do, you may be an atheist and not an agnostic. You know, it's very
I can be
simple.
both. I am both. I am both. Adam, I am both. I am an agnostic atheist. I do not know whether or not God exists, but I do not believe in one. So that is what makes me an agnostic atheist. I get that you want to play a dictionary game, and maybe you're going to like the Stanford philosophy dictionary or whatnot for what is specifically an atheist. In those kind of conversations, but we're talking about a colloquial use of these words. And in a colloquial use of these words, agnostic means that you just simply don't know, while atheist means that you don't believe.
Right. And to be sure, in the dictionary, the definition of disbelief is a lack of faith or the inability or the refusal to accept something as true. So you can't say that you are without faith and then you are also not disbelieving. If you are without faith, you are disbelieving. So if you don't believe in a God, that means you have a disbelief in God, according to the definition.
All right. Can I ask you guys a question? And you okay. I think I can. Okay. I think I can. Okay. Let's see here. So atheism is what? A fact? Is atheism a fact to you guys? If so, how have you established that?
Oh my God. I don't even know
not even
how
a
to
proposition.
answer that.
Yeah. Atheism is a lack of belief.
You believe there's no intelligence in the design. I know that. You can't believe there's intelligence in the design. That's a claim, by the way. If you say no intelligence in the design, how have you established that? Any claim has to meet the burden if there's a burden, but burden of proof is a legal term. It would be on.
We haven't made a claim.
If you're talking real philosophy.
Adam, we've yet to make a claim about anything. You're the one that has been making claims. And just by the way, you continuously yelling in order to talk over us. I mean, I get that that's like a Southern thing. I grew up in Deep South. So I get that that's a Southern thing as a way to get someone to shut the fuck up, but we're not going to shut the fuck up because this is our show. So you can scream all you want to, but we got the mute button. Just saying, bud.
I like that guy James Walton's YouTube channel where he's cracking on y'all. He's just getting started. I think that was really hilarious.
Yeah,
because it
never heard of
breaks
him.
it down. Y'all are hack philosophers,
Oh.
and just.
I'm not a philosopher. I don't even.
Shit.
I don't even attempt to engage in
I know
philosophy
you're
unless
not.
forced
I
to.
know you're not. What are your credentials? Do you have any credentials besides this atheism to speak on this philosophical shit y'all get into each week?
Yeah. I've got a degree from a Bible college and a Master's of Divinity from a seminary. So I'm particularly educated on the topic of the Bible, which is why I know that it's not true, which is why most of my live streams are about the Bible, not about philosophy.
And Adam, I'll pose the same question to you. What credentials do you have to question our credentials?
I have my credentials in computer science. I have my credentials in electronics. I've worked hardware, software, Fortune 500 companies. I've also majored in philosophy at FSU to the junior level. I was a field service engineer at the time and didn't need that. But yes, I'm far beyond qualified for you hacks. I actually know and
Really?
practice.
We're hacks now. I've got no. Hey, Adam. Look, I've got 2 engineering degrees: a computer engineering degree and a software engineering degree. And I work on helicopters for the Army, and I've been doing that for 20 years. I also worked on Patriot missile systems. So guess what? Get fucking wrecked, motherfucker, because you don't have any more authority to come up here and question our ability to engage with the audience on these questions. All right. I don't give a fuck how much time you spent doing Fortune 500 ball cuddling or whatever in the fuck you were doing. Like, it really doesn't matter. We're up here. We're having discussions with people on these topics. We are very much qualified to do this because we are atheists. And that's really all it takes for us to be up here on this stage interacting with people. We don't believe in God. You seem to be confused as to whether or not you believe in God. So how about this? Maybe you should go collect your thoughts or something like that, so that maybe you can read off a script and you can read more than a few words a second, because that's my major problem with you right now. Is you've got the pacing is really slow, so it takes a lot for you to get to your point, and that's why we have to continuously interrupt you.
Yeah, I would also add that having a background in engineering isn't helpful for you, because not only is John an engineer, so am I. I was electrical engineer for 20 years before I started doing what I'm doing now. So like, your credentials don't really get you any further than you thought they would, being that both John and I have the same credentials plus some. So like, just doing a dick measuring contest of like, I was a really cool engineer for a while isn't really all that helpful. Like, in order to demonstrate that God exists, you would need an actual argument. And it sounds like you don't have an argument. It sounds like you don't even know what you believe. It sounds like you're just mad that atheists exist.
And if I could say a word, y'all gone on here for 10 minutes just now, and I have you.
We've only been on this call for 17 minutes. What the fuck are you talking about, Adam?
Yeah, we can go longer.
I speak then for like 10 seconds before I was cut off. I spoke like maybe 5 seconds before I was cut off just then. That's what y'all do. It's good when you can.
I'm really tired of the meta on this.
Yeah, it seems to me like the entire call is just meta. Like, there's no substance to this call. So I'm not really sure that this call is a good use of anyone's time. So we can reframe the call. Also, Adam, I don't know why you're talking while I'm talking. Just so you're aware, like, when you're talking while I'm talking, people can't hear you, right? So like, you're welcome to do it, right? You're welcome to talk while I'm talking, but like, it's a waste of your time. And like, I actually want to hear what you have to say. So in order for you to talk in a way that I can hear what you have to say, just count to 10, wait for me to stop talking, then you can say your stuff. Now, what I would love to happen is for you to present like some kind of a case for why like there should be a God or there could be a God or we should believe in a God, because that's actually what the show is about. This show is not about meta commentary on how you just don't like atheists. So do you have an argument for God or no?
If I could speak more than a few seconds before I'm cut off, but it doesn't seem to be allowed. Y'all want to speak? You spoke for like 5 minutes straight talking about this is hilarious. Are y'all clowns?
Oops, my finger slipped.
Oh shit.
My bad. Well, with that, we've got time for another caller. We've got Marilyn in the queue, and actually, I think I know who Marilyn is. Let's bring up Marilyn, and John, this is gonna be fun. Just in case you don't know Marilyn yet.
Okay, I'm ready for Marilyn.
Marilyn, welcome in.
Hey, Marilyn, how you doing?
I love you. I'd be sending more super chats, but I think I was banned from your channel again.
Yeah,
So,
you
yeah,
probably said some stuff and got
chat.
banned again. That's likely. Yeah.
No.
You can't talk about the Jews in my chat.
I don't.
No, you can't do Jewish
Of
space
course I
lasers or the moon is fake or.
The moon's not fake, but I did want to. Justin is God, and that's what I wanted to talk about.
I appreciate that. It sounds like you've got a new argument we haven't heard yet. You want to lay it down for us?
Well, you don't think you're God, so I want to know why.
Well, see, I don't believe I have any attributes of God. Like the attributes of God would be all powerful, all knowing, omnipresent. I don't seem to have any of those attributes.
I think you're all powerful and with all the power and authority, all knowing. What exactly are you supposed to be knowing? Like, I believe we're all God and we're all part of one body. So every individual person has all the knowledge that they know. So all together, all the knowledge that is known and talked about is already known by the whole collective. So God sort of does know everything.
So John is going to have some questions. Marilyn, you and I've talked before. I kind of know what you believe. You're a little bit on the Christ consciousness level, although you're not a Christian, which is fine. But let's talk a little bit. Let's push a little bit deeper. What in your belief system, or what about your belief system, can we demonstrate to be true, so that someone like John and I can look at it and be like, oh yeah, this maybe we should believe it too.
Well, you are the image of God, so you can look in a mirror and you can tell you are a person. You are manifested into reality. You're not just a spirit or a thought. Well, you are actually. Jesus was God, and he had eyes and ears and nose.
Right, Marilyn. How do you know what the image of God is? Like, how do you know that?
Because man came up with the image of God. So if it came from man, then that's what man wants to.
Do you see how that's circular though? Well, do you see how that's circular? Because you're saying man decided what God looks like, therefore we are in the image of God. You're just that's circular in that kind of way.
But wouldn't that be kind of like idolizing the word God? And saying that that God is something separate from whoever created the word God and whoever made it up and invented it, and it came out of their perceptions and mind and wrote it down or talked about it.
So Marilyn,
from a man?
Right. So Marilyn, if God truly exists, like any kind of God that created, maybe I should ask that first. Do you believe that God is a real entity that created everybody or created this universe, or has any kind of like active agency in this universe?
I believe that God is the beginning and the end. So I believe we always were and always will be. So I don't believe there was some sort of we were all known before the world began, is what the Bible says. We were all known before the world began. So If we were all known,
Okay, well, so since you're
maybe we weren't. What?
well, since it seems like you're using the Bible, and that the Bible typically, says that God, pre-existed, the universe, and that God through Jesus, if you believe in the Gospel of John, created everything. Would you say that would be accurate to your beliefs, that God pre-existed the universe and created the universe with his, his omnipotence?
I believe we are all gods. We are all God because of God. So I believe we were always known. We have always been and always will be. I don't agree to a beginning of creation. I don't believe in evolution. I believe we always were and always will be. We are gods. We are God.
Well, okay. So how do you explain the fact that the Earth is only 4.5 billion years old, and that it formed at that point, and then there was a good 9 billion years before the Earth formed? How do you explain that?
I am a flat earther. I don't know where y'all even get the capacity in your brain to even register 9.8 million billion years and actually
9.8 million billion
solid evidence of someone knowing something that outrageous.
Okay. Well, so what I can tell you as far as the science goes, we've been able to analyze zircon crystals, and we've been able to do radiometric testing on them to determine that the oldest one was formed like about 4.5 billion years ago. So that's how we know that the Earth is at least that old. And the way that we know that the universe first inflated about a little over 13 billion years ago is due to things like the redshift of the planets, as well as we've been able to take a picture of the cosmic microwave background radiation, and like just being able to measure that starlight is also a pretty good indication of how old things can be in this universe. So I'm just kind of curious as to like why do you deny the deep time that is represented by physical evidence that we have in our reality?
Well, I mean, that's all well and good, but I believe the Bible to where we are source. The air was here, the water was here, the ground and land was here, the vegetation was even here, plants were here.
Were the stars there?
The sun and the moon and the stars.
Right,
So
that doesn't make sense. But were the stars there? Were the stars there?
No, we are source. We were here before there was life on the place, before there was a sun and moon and stars.
Okay, yes, I get that. But you agree that the stars were there, though, right? Like when the sun was created, or whenever you think the stars got put there, you think the stars were created at the same time that we were, correct?
No, not at the same time. No. Not no. We were made first, and then all the other stuff was made.
Okay, that further complicates everything that we experience in reality. Do you know how fast light moves?
Okay, no, because I feel like all this is indoctrination, and someone told you this and fed it down your throat.
This is something that we can physically measure. We can, Marilyn, we can physically measure the speed of light. And because we can measure the speed of light, we can actually know how long it takes light from distant galaxies and distant stars to travel here. And like the nearest one totally debunks your entire idea of like a young Earth or of God creating things.
I don't necessarily believe in a young Earth. I believe it was all, I don't know, man. It almost feels like you believe in psyops just like the Christians. Like you have Stockholm syndrome just like the Christians do. You have to have some.
I have Stockholm syndrome? No, I'm sorry, but the speed of light is not a Stockholm syndrome thing. The speed of light is something that you can measure. I'm sorry, I'm muting you real quick because this is not some kind of Stockholm syndrome thing. This is speed of light is something that we have measured, we can measure, and we can know like how long it takes light to like progress from distant stars. This is just hard math. Do you think that math is somehow a Stockholm syndrome kind of thing where math has been manipulated to give us one number? Because like math is literally just measuring our reality. Like that's all it does. It's not biased in one direction or another. Like it's just fucking math, and that's what I'm talking about here.
Okay, you ready?
Yep.
Can you hear me? Yeah, math can totally be in the ways of numbers like you guys like to use, but I don't believe math is the ways of numbers. I believe it's the ways of order. Math is order, and there is an order to things. Like the stuff you're talking about is semantics. Like there is a divide here within the human psyche, some sort of division that creates conflict that needs to be resolved. And it's just ignorance. I don't necessarily feel like it's out of malice, more out of ignorance.
So how is it, well, Marilyn, so how is it ignorant of me to take a basic equation of speed times, distance or times, some other values in order to get the amount of time it would take for that photon to get here from another star out in the solar system? How is that just ignorance on my part? It's literally just multiplying one number against another number to get yet another number that represents the amount of time it takes. That debunks your entire position here. So like, I'm still not understanding how that's somehow biased in any kind of way, or like it's an indication of my ignorance.
No, I'm not saying you're ignorant. I'm saying you're God. Maybe that's your hobby. Maybe that's what you like to do, but you shouldn't have to put it on other people and make them believe it and make them
Marilyn,
get on board. And
Marilyn, if I was an all-powerful God, I would snap my fingers right now and make you stop believing this silly shit. If I was a God, that's what I would do.
Pretty over me. We're all God. No one can be an idol if everyone is God. You cannot tell me what to do, just like I can't tell you what to do. No one is above or below anyone. Hierarchy is a sin. Competition
so
is
Yahweh,
a sin.
Yahweh is just another human that's walking around on Earth? Is that what I hear you saying? Is Yahweh just another human that's been walking around on Earth?
I mean, probably. I wouldn't doubt it. Yeah. I mean, we're all God. I don't understand why we have to do this thing to make it so grandiose.
You mean, why do we have to do this thing of critically analyzing the radical shit that you're saying? Because it doesn't make sense with reality. That's what. No, I understand that you're not a Christian. No, if you're not a Christian, then quit using the fucking Bible, Marilyn.
Well, reality is still true. Like, you can disassociate from reality, but reality isn't going to disassociate from you. That stuff really happens.
If you're not, listen, if you're not part, Marilyn, if you're not part of an Abrahamic faith, why are you using the Bible?
Because God is real. Jesus is real.
It doesn't answer my fucking question. Justin, you knew I was getting into this, huh?
Yeah. Sorry, John. I knew what was happening tonight. Marilyn, do you believe the Vedas are real?
Vedas? What is that?
Like Hindu scriptures?
What is that?
Like, do you believe in the holy text for other religions?
All gods. Well,
right.
I believe truth has no agenda. Truth has no agenda.
Right.
So any lie or any thought that doesn't inspire hope is rooted in a lie. It's just, there's a good side and a way of doing things, and it's gathering, and then there's a bad side that causes sadness and hurt and scatters. I mean, children get into heaven. You have a mind of a child. I feel like it's common sense. But for some reason, people distort good with bad, and they want to mix the two and say stuff that is flagrantly just evil, just bad, just intentionally unbalancing the situation, and think they have done something to virtue signal about, like they've done something good. It doesn't add up in my mind what people are doing. It has to be out of ignorance.
Sure. Well, listen, Marilyn, we've got just enough time to take our last caller. I appreciate you coming up and chatting with us.
Thank you guys for taking. I appreciate it.
I hope you're having a good Sunday. We wish the best for you.
Yes, I love you, Justin. You're God. I'm going to get you. We're going to get you. Everyone's going to get
you. What?
Sure thing. Have a good one.
Thank you guys again.
Bye, Marilyn.
Justin needs a fucking...
What?
Well,
a restraining order? Maybe Justin needs a restraining order on Marilyn. I don't know.
We're going to grab our last caller and then finish with what's left of our super chats. We've got a theist, Bill from Texas, coming in saying that fine tuning proves God. I would love to know more about the fine-tuning argument. Bill, do you think that the fine-tuning argument points towards a generic God or a specific God?
A generic.
Okay. Do you believe in a generic God or a specific God?
By the way, John knows Kelly at Godless Granny. Is a friend of his. I was just on her show yesterday talking to Dr. Richard Carrier about the fine-tuning. We had a really nice discussion. So one of the things I brought up was the strong nuclear force, which, if it's off by 2% stronger, you're not going to get, you get the periodic table, but you don't get hydrogen, which obviously is in stars and is important. If it's 5% stronger, you only get hydrogen. So
is God all powerful? Bill, is God all powerful?
I would think he's pretty powerful, because I brought up to Richard that we have 100 billion galaxies with 200 billion stars, and I'll ask you the same question. Just the sheer mass.
Did God design physics?
Yes, I think he did. And mathematics.
Okay, so did God design the parameters that would bring about life?
Yes, I believe he did. The 25
okay, so if that's the case, then God could have made life anything. God could have said life is going to be made out of mostly aluminum. Like he could have made it out of anything. So the fine-tuning argument isn't helpful, right? It doesn't get you to a God, because a God could make life out of literally anything. He set the rules, right? It just happens to be that the life-permitting universe we have right now has these particular properties, but we have no way of knowing if it could be any different. But we do know that if God was all-powerful and he authored this, then the fine-tuning argument completely fails, because God could have made life out of literally anything.
Well, that's what Richard said. Yeah,
I know. Yeah, because it's true. But, fine tuning would only be helpful if we knew that this is the only way there could be life. Like if God had no other way of creating life other than this way, then it would be maybe partially remarkable. But I think even at that, it's not remarkable, right? Because what we're suggesting is that we do have life with the current configuration of physics, but the reality is, I don't believe there is a start of the universe. I don't believe the Big Bang is like something from nothing. Like if you believe in an eternal universe, well, there is an eternity of different universal formations prior to this one, and probably none of them had life. And it just happens to be that we're finally in one formation that happens to have life.
And I somewhat agree with you that you're familiar with Roger Penrose's cyclical conformal cosmology.
I'm only vaguely familiar with Penrose's theory, and there are others who believe in a cyclical universe, like Sean Carroll and.
Yeah, exactly. So that is a possibility, and Christians have first of all, they've got to stop talking about the Kalam cosmology. You've heard it a million times. I'm sure you're bored to tears of as I am. There's better arguments like the Pauli exclusion principle, like the fine structure constant, which is 1/137 said. Richard Feynman said every physicist should put this on a wall and worry. And if this thing's not right, then if it's 4% off, you don't get carbon, and thus you don't get life. So my question to you guys, are you worried?
Right. But the problem, no, I'm not worried. But the problem with the fine tuning argument is it assumes that life was the goal. Like the fact that life exists would only be unique if life was the goal. And we have, in order to assume that there was a goal of the universe, we would have to assume that the God existed already. So it becomes a circular argument. So like I give the popular example, like if I have a deck of cards and I throw the deck of cards on the floor, the arrangement of each individual card it's like statistically impossible for it to be that particular arrangement, but that's not actually meaningful. It would be meaningful if before I threw the cards down, I told you what the arrangement would be. Then it would be super meaningful. You'd have to assume that I had some sort of magic or mystical powers or a fixed deck in order for me to guess the arrangement. Same thing with the universe. The universe just happens to be an arrangement right now that permits life, but it's not meaningful unless you believe that the universe had the goal of creating life. Then the fine-tuning constants become meaningful.
Well, Richard Feynman says, who was an atheist, that it looks like God's pushing the pencil, but we don't know why. And
I don't care what he said though.
Well, he's only one of the greatest physicists of the last century.
I'm literally telling you why I don't believe the fine-tuning argument works, and you're bringing up somebody else's quote. Like I want you to address what I said, not what some other guy said.
Well, I see your point. You have a very good point. But could I actually talk? Carbon has many ways to go interact with other molecules, 29,000 ways. Silicon, which is below it on the periodic table, could be is a good candidate, but I don't think it's as good as carbon. So it looks like there was something behind this creation. Yes, it could have been created to make beetles, because there's so many things. Let me just give you an example. To create carbon in nucleosynthesis in stars, you've got to get 4 helium nuclei together with another helium nuclei to be beryllium. Then beryllium has to find.
But this doesn't. But Bill, I want you to focus. No, I'm not going to let you finish because what you're doing. What you're doing is you're ignoring the admission that you just made 30 seconds ago. Right? If the fine-tuning constants or whatever things you think are finely tuned that permits the universe we have now, if those things aren't relevant because we haven't determined that that was the goal of the universe, then just repeating more of them is useless. Like just continually repeating like, well, listen, if this was different, then we wouldn't have what we have now. Yes, you could do that till the cows come home, but none of it is important until you can demonstrate that the current formation of the universe was the goal of the universe. Once you've attributed a goal, then you can calculate how likely that goal is, but you haven't been able to establish that the universe has a goal yet. You're putting the cart before the horse.
But the strong anthropic principle says that there was a goal that to create carbon, and I literally was going to take 5 seconds. The beryllium 8, which is the intermediate step between the final formation of carbon, literally takes a split second. It's just remarkable. And I see your point. Richard, if you look at the video, it's up on Godless Granny. He made very compelling points, just like you're making points. But you got to realize that there are theists since Barrow and Tiplet, 1986, that have given pretty good reasons to infer there might be a God.
Right, but we're asking you, we're not asking them, right? So in the argument that you've presented so far is the fine-tuning argument, and I've given you a really good reason why the fine-tuning argument fails from my perspective, it fails because in order for anything to be finely tuned, we must determine that A, it couldn't have been any other way, and still ended up with life, and B, that was the goal. Like somehow the goal was to get from point A to point B, and we're currently at point B. We don't know that to be the case.
Exactly, but there seems to be things that are so improbable, like the Pauli exclusion principle, that these electrons inhabit certain shells. The 2 shell of a K shell, which is 2, then 8 and 18. But
I've addressed this. The improbability of something is useless until you determine that was a goal of something. Like the goal of something is what establishes the improbability as being meaningful, right? Just something being improbable isn't helpful. Like, so for example, like I'm sitting in a chair right now. There are a billion other places I could be sitting in a chair. The fact that I'm sitting in this chair right now in this position has nothing to do with fine tuning. It just happens to be the current state of the universe.
I understand that, but you got to realize you're talking to theists on this. You have theists listening to you, Christians listening to it, and what these apologists do is, like, for example, what turned me on was Luke Bond's.
But you're the apologist.
Universe. Okay, well, that's a scary thought when I'm supposed to defend. And I've only been a theist for a month.
You came into the conversation saying that the fine-tuning argument proves God. That means you're a theist.
Yes, I've only been a theist for a month, so give me some slack here, okay? But yes, the improbabilities, like the cosmological constant, is fine-tuned at the end of the way.
Hey, Bill. So Bill, I understand that you're using these large numbers, and I typically call this just argument from large numbers, because it always, whenever somebody says these things, it always makes me think, and usually it turns out to be correct, that you just simply don't understand how probabilities work or how statistics work, because you're mentioning these very large numbers, but when you consider the sets that those large numbers are contained in, this is the likelihood that it's going to happen at any one point in time, not the likelihood that it will happen at all. And so unless you're positing this number, the statistic is absolutely 0, then it will happen given a large enough set. And when we're talking about the universe, I feel like the set is going to be large enough where it definitely will happen at some point. It's just rare that it's going to happen. And I feel like that is the main thing that a lot of theists out there just don't understand whenever they start bringing up probabilities. Unless you're positing a 0% chance, then it will happen.
That's a good argument. And I think that's one Richard made. But, I don't trust, when they use these large numbers, I do not trust any Christian about pretty much anything. But the numbers are unimaginable, like the cosmological constant, fine-tuned to 10 to the 120th. And
right, Bill, but still, again, unless you're saying that it's a 0% chance, then it will 100% happen. It's just what that improbability is telling you is how likely it is to occur at any one single point in time in this set. And when we're talking about the universe and how old the universe is, and then you think about that, and then how many times can chemical reactions occur, like in a single second, in a single millisecond, and all this other, how many chemical reactions have occurred in the entire universe up until this point right now? If you take that set, and you unless you have a 0% chance of something happening, then it 100% has happened at least once in that set, if not twice. Have you heard of the pigeonhole? Not hypothesis, but the principle.
Argument. The what?
Pigeonhole principle.
No, go ahead.
Okay, imagine a board that has 12 holes in it, right? You've got 13 pigeons, okay? You're going to put one pigeon in each hole. What's the likelihood that one of those holes is going to have 2 pigeons?
Mm-hmm. Pretty good. Yeah.
No, it's 100%. Like the likelihood that one of those holes is going to have two pigeons, it's 100% likely that it's going to happen. Now, of course, we could do the math on this on the probabilities of any one particular hole having that second pigeon, but the fact that there is a second pigeon in one of those holes is 100% likely, and that's exactly what we're saying, like about life and everything like that, and the fine tuning of this universe. Like, I mean, it's just you bringing up these big and small numbers as far as probabilities go. It doesn't really move the needle at all as to pointing towards a God, because those things would 100% happen in this very large set.
Well, I think some of the apologists would say no, that when it's 10 to the 120th, that's like saying it's impossible, that it would never happen, that this expansion rate has to be too precise, too fine-tuned to happen by chance.
Bill, if I can ask you, how many, so earlier at the beginning of the call, you brought up the weak nuclear force, and you brought up the fact that, like, if it was 5% different. Strong nuclear force. If it was 5% different, then one thing or another wouldn't be able to form. I can't remember exactly what you said. It doesn't matter.
Well, if it's 5% weaker, you get you don't even get the periodic table. You just get lonely hydrogen.
Okay, it's not right. That's not my point. That's not my point here, Bill. That's not my point here. I want, like, in terms of numbers here, how many numbers on the real scale here occur between -5% and 5%?
Well, it could be an infinity. Yeah.
Holy shit! Really, an infinity of numbers in there. So you're telling me that there's an infinite amount of different configurations of this universe that still produce the periodic table? Well, fuck me.
I'm saying you guys have good arguments, but you have, like I said, I was the atheist part of the atheist booklet, so I took a stand. So I've got to make a decision. You know, is it more probable? I'm not saying this isn't proof. Mathematics is proof. I'm just saying it looks like there's so many hurdles. There's so many things that have to go right to have a life-permitting universe that...
Again, none of that matters until you've determined that the goal of the universe was to produce life. This is you keep begging the question. You have to demonstrate that the purpose is to create life before you can calculate what the likelihood that somebody setting out to do that could do it.
Well, who can say what the purpose of the universe or God, whoever, what the purpose?
That's the point. The point is you would have to demonstrate that the universe had a purpose to create life before you can say, look how rare it is that the universe produced life. Because if the universe is timeless and endless and is completely devoid of a God, it would still produce life eventually. Like if the universe is infinite in the past and the future, and the probability of producing life is anything but zero, it will eventually produce life. No matter what, it will happen.
Mm-hmm. Well, what they say is, you know, this cyclical conformal cosmology is what we have is one universe dies down and the little charcoal or briquettes of the dying universe goes and pops a new universe in. But you still have to have a universe generator, don't you?
No, you don't have to have a universe generator, but this still doesn't address the point, right? So if you believe in a cyclical universe where there's no beginning and end of it, like it's just always existed, right. And the probability of life arising is anything but 0%, that means it's a guarantee that life will arise eventually.
Maybe, yeah, maybe, yeah.
I mean, it's just mathematically true. If the universe exists forever, and the probability is anything but 0, then it has to produce life at some point. Doesn't mean it's going to go on forever. No, like our galaxy is likely to collide with the Andromeda galaxy in like 4 billion years. When that happens, hell, shit, we could be completely wiped out, and then there might be no life again.
Well, the heat death of the universe is almost certain. These stars are going to burn out.
Well, I don't know that to be the case. Like the latest DESI data seems to suggest that the expansion rate is slowing. Like it's still accelerating, obviously, but the acceleration rate is lessening, right? Which, if that's the case, if they confirm it in the 2026 readings that it really is the case, then it certainly could be possible that we have a cyclical universe that eventually gets drawn back in through gravity and then contracts and expands endlessly. But no matter what your model is, right? But whether you have like a rubber band model or not rubber band model, if the universe is around forever, then it's just a guarantee that life will be produced at some point.
Could be.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're all treading water here because this is theoretical physics that is pointing people to God.
No, I'm sorry. I have to interrupt right here real quick, Bill. I have to interrupt because everything that we've talked about so far has just been statistics and not like theoretical physics necessarily. So like all of your arguments are just basically, oh, there's this giant number that when you take that as a likelihood or a probability of this universe existing, it is incredibly low and is therefore just as well impossible. And what we're trying to explain to you is that from a basic statistics and probability perspective, you're just wrong about that because due to how statistics and probability just works naturally, the likelihood of life developing in a universe is going to be 100%, especially when we're already here to be able to analyze it.
Well, okay, I understand what you're saying, but you're familiar with the Discovery Institute, what's his name? So what they say is a protein forming, the odds of these amino acids coming together, and you have the causality problem where they all have to be left-handed.
Okay, but Bill, unless you're going to tell me that it's a 0% likelihood, then it really doesn't matter.
Right. So, Bill, I just want to make sure we're clear on this. Okay. You keep saying that there's this thing and the odds of the thing happening is really high. And we've given you a bunch of reasons why it doesn't matter what the odds are. If the odds are 1 in 50 or 1 in 50 trillion, it still is irrelevant. Like the number of the odds is not relevant.
Well, if this is so clear, and he says the odds are 10 to the 77th, and the amount of protons in the universe is 10 to the 80th, so that's saying there's no chance, basically. That's what these guys are saying.
That's literally not it. No, it's literally not saying that there's no chance. It's just that it's rare. That's all that says.
Obviously, it's like Dumb and Dumber, so you're saying there's a chance. Remember, what's the chance? Oh, it would be like 1 in a million.
I feel like I've explained this before. So the likelihood of it happening is 100%. Bill, the likelihood of it happening is 100%, but the likelihood of it happening at any one moment in time is that percentage that you're bringing up. So we're not saying that, it's going to happen right now. What we're saying is that it will 100% happen at some point. That's what we're saying.
100%, you're saying. You're 100%, right?
That's how likelihoods work, yes.
Yeah, okay. So what I'm asking you, John, you've made a great argument. It's very compelling. So why doesn't the Discovery Institute say, "Oh my gosh, I heard this on John's articulation"? What are we talking about? Why are we using these big numbers?
So the Discovery Institute is a heavily biased think tank that is definitely geared towards a very creationist, fundamentalist sort of view of science and everything. So. You're basically giving me a creationist source here and telling me, well, why don't the creationists admit this? Because they're not going to admit that. They're going because the basic playbook of creationism is to twist the information into straw men so that it can convince people of things that are not reasonable. That's any creationist argument will fit that particular mold. And everything that you said here, as far as like the creation or the Discovery Institute goes, is exactly that.
Yeah, it's Stephen Meyer, by the way, who wrote the book.
It's obviously Stephen Meyer. Yeah.
That
But,
vampire? Okay.
But Discovery Institute is not a good representation of the science. So, like, for example, my friend Dr. Blitz sent me a survey that was done recently among like actual cosmologists about the fine-tuning constants. And the question is, in your opinion, what explains the values of physical constants of nature and the claimed anthropic coincidences? And 3% of the respondents.
Yeah, that's exactly what Richard said. So I believe you.
3% of the respondents, which is only 2, claimed that they believed it could be explained by an intelligent designer. The rest of them had different answers. In fact, the most popular answer was that they're brute facts and they need no further explanation. 24% went to a multiverse principle to explain them, and then there are other explanations. But the bottom line is, like, if you're just going to quote, like, well, the Discovery Institute, well, I'm not sure, like, just saying some other guy believes that he agrees with me isn't that helpful, because like the bulk of scientists, the bulk of physicists, like, agree with John and I, right? So I'm not sure that like the appeal to poor authority is helpful.
Well, that is very disconcerting that the guys that know this stuff, the quarks and the ups and downs and the chromodynamics and stuff, these really detailed things, which seem to point to that they know this better than we will ever know it. Only 3% of them, like you said, like Richard said, believe that this points to God. So it's very disconcerting and problematic for me.
Not for us, obviously. But hey, listen, Bill, I think you've been pleasant to talk to, but we're running up on a time limit here, and we've got to do some things before we cut the show.
Yeah, this has been great. You guys have been terrific, and I'm a big fan of John. Obviously, I think he has such a great sense of humor. And by the way, it's the things on Godless Granny, Theist. It says atheist refutes theists, so you can see somebody that actually knows what they're talking about to a great extent refute me. So thanks, guys. I'll see you later. Bye.
All right, cheers. Thanks, Bill.
We've got a handful of super chats to get through, and then we've got to conclude our show. We appreciate everyone that called in. It looks like our first super chat is from our friend Chad, and Chad says, where can I find a list of the best anti-theist arguments? Is there any agreed upon best sources? Thank you. Chad, that's a good question. I don't know if there's a best source. Here's what I can tell you, though, for like anti-theism, I would ask, which theist are you trying to refute, or which theism are you trying to refute? Because like, if you're trying to refute like the Bible God, to me, the best source is just to read the book. Like literally just read the Bible from front to cover. From cover to back, and you'll have basically what you need to say, oh, yeah, this God is silly. After that, you can maybe read some other books. I can't actually promote other people's books on this particular live stream, but I would engage with people in the field of biblical studies. And so if you want to know more about the, how to interpret different Bible passages that seem to be it would go against the theistic worldview, look what the academics say. A lot of the academics that are writing commentaries on particular passages are pretty darn honest. Not that some of them aren't, but you'll find a lot of honest, critical commentaries on the Bible that will more or less indicate to you, like, there's a problem here. Let's talk about this particular problem.
Yeah, and for me on this, I really just watch a lot of debate stuff because I can usually pick up on what's a good argument, what's a bad argument. I mean, I'm not trying to toot my own horn here about being able to discern good arguments from bad arguments, but I feel like everybody has a good sense of what's convincing them and what isn't. And so like I would watch some of the better debates out there on whatever topic you're trying to look at. I wouldn't necessarily look at quarrelsome debates or anything like that where it's just people yelling at each other, but some more structured or some more reasonable debates. I mean, you can find them out there on YouTube.
Yeah, I think debates are really good for learning. We've got another super chat from Dr. Joe. Thank you so much, Dr. Joe. Says, I think Ben is looking for logical fallacy, maybe cognitive distortion. I agree. I think that's probably what Benjamin was looking for, but When you're on these shows, sometimes you lose the words you need. You get kind of tongue-tied.
Yeah. Then next we've got Atlas, who says, I really enjoy listening to you both. John, it was great to meet you and Casey at NanoCon, and I look forward to seeing you guys again. Justin, maybe I'll get to meet you someday. Great work, guys. It was great meeting you there, Atlas. I don't know if Atlas is still watching, but Atlas, it was really nice meeting you.
And I cannot pronounce his name. IMETR Ader. Thank you so much for the $10 super chat. It says, I'm E-Trader. That's what it means. I'm E-Trader. Why is it that people like Adam, who can't even do algebra, often misquote Einstein? Do they think that makes them sound smarter? Well, the thing of it is, I'm not sure that they think it makes them sound smart to misquote someone. I think that in their mind, they're quoting them correctly. But you guys know as well as anyone else, a lot of times when people are quoting the science folk, they either misquote them or they attribute things to them that they didn't say, and they just don't know any better because they're not intimately familiar. They just heard it on the internet. They're repeating what they heard on the internet, and they don't know that they're making an error.
Yeah, and I would also say that that's typically an appeal to authority or an argument from authority. They think that just because they can say something that they think Einstein said, that somehow disproves somebody. But that's not the case at all. Next, we have Lord Beegers, who says, this wild and crazy guy, LK kind of rules. Low key kind of rules. Low key. I gotcha.
I'm not cool enough to know what that would mean either. It's like, what's okay? Nobody on fire. Great to see you tonight. Says the one Doug will remain when Andromeda collides with us, for he grounds the universe. My foot stays firm, for it rests upon him. Metamorphism 69,420. Doug, absolutely.
And then finally tonight we have some kind of Dickie who says, rumor has it that a math teacher will be hosting Talk Heathen on 9/14. If Bill wants to call in and talk to him, them about probability, I definitely suggest that. I mean, I really kick myself in the butt every day because I didn't get my bachelor's in mathematics because I was like 3 classes away. I've only got a minor in it, so but definitely call in and talk to Dickie there.
I did not and do not have the mental fortitude for that kind of nonsense, but I'm glad that people like you do. Also, let's thank our backup host for the night, Jimmy. Let's see that beautiful. There we go. Jimmy, great to see you.
Hey, man.
And Jimmy, how are your thoughts on the show?
Oh boy. Well, it was a fun one tonight. I don't know what was happening by the time the third call came. So Benjamin, I think, was a good example of how vague and how large your net needs to be when you cast out your ideas in order for any of them to make sense, right? I mean, you need to really cast a pretty wide net. For example, his remote viewing technique, where he found a metal thing. I mean, hey, that's proof, right? That's proof right there. He found the metal thing in your office, so he must be onto something. But yeah, I mean, that is just an example of how vague you have to be. And thank you, Benjamin, for that. That was a fun call, but man, I hope Benjamin can get a more sound story moving forward. Marilyn, oh, poor Marilyn. Oh my goodness, that was rough. Just all the worst ways to describe. And that was a very disjointed conversation. She was coming at you guys every direction. The flat earth thing, I need something from flat earthers. I need you guys to agree and define your right and left boundaries of what a flat earth looks like, right? so that we can figure some stuff out. Like does the Earth, is it partitioned on like the Atlantic Ocean or like the Pacific Ocean? Like what's in the middle? Because if you take, for example, the African slave trade or the attack on Pearl Harbor, those both could not have happened if the Earth is flat. So I need to, and you can slice that a bunch of ways. So I need to know where the right and left are, so we can figure that out. And Bill, yeah, I don't have the mental fortitude for math either. John, awesome job, man. But for Bill, like, we don't have a model to compare our current circumstances to. So we might actually not be that uncommon. We don't know the size and scale when it pertains to geography and time of the universe. So who knows? We could actually be pretty common in the large grand scheme of things. And maybe there are some other conditions where life is possible, not just our own condition. So something to think about, Bill, but really good call. I like that a lot. I like that. That was a good way to close the show. Guys, thanks for letting me up here and give my thoughts. I had a great time listening and learning in the background.
Well, thanks a ton, Jimmy. Always great to have you on screen. And with that, friends, make sure we'll be here again next week. Mark it on your calendars. Definitely thank Jimmy and John for being here. And 4:30 p.m. Central Time Sunday next week, we'll do it all over again. I'm not going to be hosting next week, but there's going to be some lovely. Maybe I am hosting next week. I already forgot. Make sure and be here though, for no matter who is hosting, so you can get hold of the conversation. It should be a great time.
Watch Talk Heathen live Sundays at 1 p.m. Central. Visit tiny.cc/YTTH and call into the show at 512-991-9242 or connect to the show online at tiny.cc/call